On Monday, January 27th, City Council approved grants totaling $12,500. Projects receiving grant money were submitted by ACE, the city's Advisory Committee on Education.
Yeah, and this is a cool program. I like it. I mean, on the one hand, I wish education were funded from tax dollars from the school board sufficiently to provide the very best of everything. But that's not how it is, and so the city of Greenbelt has seen fit to supplement that. And so the schools, the 5, I guess, core schools.
There are 6, I was surprised, 6 schools in Greenbelt.
Yeah, that's right, can apply for one of these grants, and it can be up to $600, and it has to do with supplementing or enriching, maybe that's a better word, enriching educational experience of students.
One of the things I was kind of impressed with was that for Eleanor Roosevelt High School students to get an updated Pride and Prejudice that takes place in New York City.
Yeah.
Which, perfect.
Made me want to, I'm curious.
I know, I want to read it
I'd kind of like to read that, yeah, exactly. The big recipient, but that's just because they put in so many requests or grant proposal, that's the word, is Greenbelt Elementary. They had the lion's share, but they submitted quite a few, and it's just an interesting variety. There are some that deal with language and language arts, others that deal with science and tech, STEM-oriented things, and some that deal with both. I don't know if this may not have been at Greenbelt. At one of the awards was making pots and then planting plants in them. And so the making the pot part is art. You're creating something, and the planting a plant part is science.
It's science, and the plant part too, where they say it teaches independence, responsibility, and dresses up the grounds. So it's such a wonderful, far-reaching idea and program that I'm so happy to see that this is happening. Over at Greenbelt Elementary School, they have the program where with the puppets that describe the butterfly life cycle, and then they go to math from that, where they describe symmetry with the same thing.
Yeah, again, there's sort of a combination of art or of being creative, and then moving into the math realm, which I suppose is also creative. I mean, you can kind of tell what my better subjects were than others when I was in those grades. But yeah, exactly. That's a very cool stuff.
And one other thing, the sensory room at Spring Hill Lake Elementary School with lights and different textured things in there that both calm and educate.
Yeah, so my reading of that is that it's primarily, I hope I can say that, I'll be corrected I suppose if it's not but it's primarily for special needs students that sometimes they need a place to kind of, I don't know, regroup or be calmed. But it's really for any student who needs a minute or time to kind of, and I guess what that enhances education. If something's going on, then they have a chance to get them ready to go back to school.
And for not just that student, but for their classmates too.
Yeah, and also at Spring Hill Lake, the whole sensory thing, and they have a garden program there as well, and not only at Greenbelt Elementary, but at Spring Hill Lake. And their garden, and I know it's ongoing, they've had it for several years. This year's iteration is going to emphasize senses, all 5 senses. So there'll be various textures of plants, prickly and so forth, thorny, thorny plants, okay. I'm a gardener, I try to avoid those, but okay. But then herbs and vegetables, so there's smelling, there's tasting, flowers, there's seeing colors, and so.
Fresh air, sun.
Yeah, I want to go over there. I want to just walk by the school sometime in spring or summer and just see what it looks like.
That could be a cool story. So let's move on to more council news. We had a discussion of Black History Month events, a bond issue to complete the hiker-biker trail to Greenbelt Metro Station, and a vote to support federal legislation under consideration, and 2 of those bills are to make prescription drugs more affordable.
So when we talked about education just now, the ACE awards, that was something council did. They approved those awards. And that's interesting. Listen to that story, ACE awards, I love it. Now this story, it's easy to think, oh, did this, did this, did this. And again, there's times when the work of government is not necessarily, sitting on the edge of your seat exciting, but it's important, each piece of it. It's like a huge puzzle that our elected representatives are putting together. So let me see, you mentioned...
So we have Black History Month.
Black History Month. So one thing about that, Mayor Pro Tem Emmett Jordan commented that even though Greenbelt has celebrated Black History Month, or noted it, celebrated, noted it, commemorated it for many years, that this is really the first month when the first year when the whole month is sort of unified programming. There's a number of events. Watch the news review. We'll be reporting on all of them, as many as we can, if not all. So the whole month there's an official kind of a structure to it. There's a committee who's putting it together.
Dr. Rosado. I think,
yeah, that's exactly right, Louis Rosado.
So then we had that hiker-biker trail, the ongoing saga.
I thought that's the trail that connects Greenbelt Station with the Greenbelt Metro, and my understanding is that the funding was in place for that. Whether this is new funding or just one step in, by funding in place, it might mean that you have to do things like a bond issue. Right. So whether it's additional or whether this is part of putting the pie together, I don't know. The iterations can be confusing here with this because, I can't keep up with it. Yep. I suppose the bottom line is that something's happening. Yeah. I think that they're telling us September of next year is when it will be done, I think. So, all right, step in the right direction, bond issue.
Exactly. Let's move on to the January 15th meeting, and that's where the Greenbelt Park Superintendent Matthew Carroll presented an update on the park and transportation issues.
Yeah, so here's another example of the council talking with a local stakeholder. Sometimes those stakeholders are city, departments like the rec department or something, and so then they're talking to their bosses. Now, in this case, with the ranger from Greenbelt Park, it's more of a report. This is a park that's in the city of Greenbelt, and so council is being informed. And is there anything that the city, any collaboration, any sort of support needed, whatever. And so it was just a report on what's going on. They've been closed, essentially. The roads have been closed. They've been doing major repaving and refurbishing, I think, of campgrounds even, and that's supposed to be finished this spring. Also, there's a general kind of refurbishment going on that's happening in the national park system across the country to kind of bring it up to make it more accessible to visitors. I guess there's a standard for putting a park together, and so they're trying to bring it up to that.
And he touched just a little bit on maglev and also keeping the parkway a beautiful entryway to the Capitol, right?
That's right. They are a stakeholder because not only is Greenbelt Park, does it run alongside the parkway, but it actually manages a big chunk of it. When you see those brown signs during that section, then that's the National Park Service managing that. So they're very much involved in that whole issue. Nothing new was really said, except it was another opportunity for council to express their strong opposition to maglev.
Great. Well, thanks for bringing us up to speed on events in Greenbelt this week.
Glad to do it.